In Pier 18 by Alicat Games, you take on the role of a Victorian pier builder as you compete to create the country's greatest seaside pier. Using only 18 cards, you'll draft and position sections of your pier, building your unique structure outwards to sea in an effort to score the most victory points. Welcome to my review of Pier 18. Hey everyone, this is Yotekos. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm bringing you my review of the 18 card game Pier 18. Thank you very much for Alicat Games for providing me with a review copy. Before I give you my opinion, let me show you how to play the game first. For the setup, shuffle all 18 cards and give 3 cards to each of the 2 or 3 players. Each player then chooses 1 card to use as their plan. That's the card that will end the pier as well as set the goal for scoring additional points. Then each player chooses 1 card to be the foundation that will start each pier. The remaining cards are shuffled back into the deck, which is placed in reach of all players. The setup is done, and this is how the table should now look. The player that last saw the sea begins the game. If none of the players ever saw the sea, then the player who showered last starts. In the beginning of each turn, you place 1 card in the center of the table, plus 1 card for each player. In a 2-player game, you will put 3 cards down face up. The starting player then drafts one of these cards and places it on their foundation to extend it. Then the other players do the same in a clockwise direction. At the end of the turn, there will be 1 card remaining. That card is the patron that will visit a player's pier. You look at the symbol depicted in the top left of that card. The player that has the most points for that symbol receives the card and places it next to their pier. Each patron is worth 1 point at the end of the game. I'll explain soon how the different symbols are scored. That concludes the round, and it's the turn of the player to the left of the player who started last round. They draw 3 or 4 cards depending on the player count, place them on the table and begin the next round. The game ends when there aren't enough cards left to place in the center of the table at the beginning of a round. Then all players finish their pier by placing the plan card at the top of the pier according to the standard placing rules, and then the points are tallied up. You add together the following points: the 4 kinds of symbols on your pier, 1 point for each patron, and the points on your plan card which sits at the top of your pier. Pay attention to the correct number of players indicated by these dots. The player with the most points wins the game. There are 2 more things you need to know: card placement and scoring. You always place the new card onto your last placed card. There are 3 rules to keep in mind. You can't overlap the entire card, you need to leave at least 1 space unoccupied, and you may choose to not overlap any row of the pier on your last played card. So this would be correct, as would this. Yet this would be incorrect, and this would also be wrong placement. Last but not least, the scoring. There are 4 different symbols that all score differently: the flower sellers, the poets, the lovers, and the fishers. Each flower seller scores 1 point for each different symbol in one group above or below the symbol. Keep in mind that those symbols cannot be flower sellers. So this example would grant you 3 points. This combination would grant you 1 point, and these examples no points at all. Poets are easier to score. You count all poets on your pier and divide that number by 2, round it down. That is the score the poets grant you. So in this example you'd receive 5 points, here you get 3 points, and in this situation only 1 point. Lovers grant you 2 points if the 2 spaces above and below the symbol are empty. So these situations would grant you 2 points each, and these wouldn't. For scoring the fishers, you look at the side of the pier with the most fisher symbols. Each of those symbols will give you 1 point each. So in this example you'd count the left side of the pier, which grants you 6 points, and here you'd count the right side with 5 points. So, what do I think about the game? First of all, the game is quite pretty. Also, the theme is really nice. The theme also fits the mechanism of puzzling in an upward direction really well. I love it when theme and mechanism work together this well. It's also nice attention to detail that all cards have a different name that tie into the way these cards are scored. I really like that. It's also quite a relaxing game, since you only need to think about a few aspects, such as the 4 ways the different symbols score, as well as your own personal goal. It's a really good game for people who don't play too many board games. The quality of the cards is definitely good, but I'm personally not a big fan of the materials. There seems to be some coating on the cards, which I don't know from any other games. That material also makes shuffling the cards harder than it should be. This may just be a minor thing, but for me the tactile feeling of games is really important. It's great that the game is as relaxing as it is, but it also removes some of the puzzly challenge from the game. There are really few decisions you have to make. Also, you pick your personal goal before you see the cards you can take. This means that the luck aspect is also quite substantial. The game was a bit too simple for me. It's a shame that this game does not have a solo mode. I'm sure that the community will cook up something, but for a game with such a small footprint, a solo mode should definitely exist. Of course, when looking at 18 card games, I always look at the button shy games for reference, since they have the most experience for these designs. Pier 18 definitely does it well and holds up well against those games. Still, the design is not as tight as it is with most button shy games. Also, omitting solo mode and simple puzzle make me rather go for a button shy game if I want to have a more substantial puzzle. The best thing about Pier 18 definitely is the theme as well as the relaxed gameplay for a busy or slow weekend. If you're a big fan of games with a small footprint you can get to the table easily, I definitely suggest taking a look at the game, which is also quite inexpensive. The theme is also a big factor when you're thinking about getting this game. Yet, if you're a veteran regarding 18 card games, then this game might be a little bit too basic for you. I will definitely bring this game to the table more times, since I know several people who will enjoy playing this relaxing puzzle game with me. If you're still watching, thank you very much for doing so. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why don't you let me know by liking and or commenting on this video. Also make sure to check out my channel. I publish a lot of board gaming videos every week. I'm sure there's other videos you will enjoy. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care and cheers.